but then you don't get truth on the beeps. There we are. Hooray. Some days you just don't want to get out of bed, do you? Right. So, no, I'm not on mute. Can you hear me now? Kimi Lashma. Lashma. Right. And Julie Voice, formerly of Texas, Houston in Texas, now of Guildford, Surrey. You can hear me now. There we are. You can hear me now. Fantastic. Where the hell was I? God knows. Hello, everybody. Should we start again? Oh, Jesus. Right. I'm Russ Kane. This is the Midday Show. Right. What I was saying was this, that on Monday, I was in the studios of Talk Radio with Petri Hoskin doing the 11 o'clock to midnight slot with her. You normally go through tomorrow's papers. Sounds a bit voodoo, but there's a special site. When you're a multi-billion-pound organization, you've got this site you go to, and you get, hello, Mike Perry. We can hear you now. Marvelous. Fantastic. If I knew what I was doing, I'd be a genius, but I don't pretend to. I just bumble along, and that's fine by me. I had some terrible dreams last night. Jesus. Oh, horrible dreams last night. Freaked me out. I woke up in not the best of moods. I had to say to myself, they're just dreams. They weren't true. Do dreams affect you? If you have a really lousy dream, do you wake up thinking, it's real? Well, it's not real. It's not real. But they were so realistic. They were really, really nasty. About backstabbing people. What that's all about. Anyway, back to the studio. So I'm in the studios of Talk Radio, and of course the big story was what happened in Liverpool after Liverpool won whatever big thing. I know nothing about football, forgive me, I'm not being rude, I just don't know. They obviously won something fabulous, and 1.2 million people turned out to cheer their team. Marvellous thing, should have been a really happy day, turned into a ghastly tragedy. Now, the thing about it was, with rolling news, and Phil Dave and I talk about this a lot, with rolling news, which we will never be on Midday Show. That's not what we're about. We're about having a chat. Rolling news, you got to fill, right? You got 24 hours a day. You got to fill it. And poor Petri was what we call filling. And filling and filling and filling. And I'm thinking, oh my God. I'm sitting outside because I'm not due to go in. Then I go in. And of course, there's nothing you can say. The tragedies occurred. The press conference from the police said virtually nothing because they were saying what they knew at the time. You have to be very careful not to prejudge anything. And it was just like walking on eggshells, It was like walking on eggshells, trying to get through the news of it. The most interesting bit, of course, was when we were doing the papers for the next day, which no one else had seen. There was the Sun. Now, the Sun, as you know, is part of the Rupert Murdoch empire, right? I'm sitting in his building, the gigantic News Corp building, which is right next to the Shard. If you don't know where the Shard is, if you're watching abroad, it's like one of the biggest buildings in Europe. It's absolutely huge. Qatari money. Lovely. And it's there, a big sort of pointy thing. And Rupert Murdoch's building, which holds at the Times and all his other empires in this thing. And in this building is Talk Radio, where I was working. And I'm thinking, well, I got to really be careful. I'm about to walk into a minefield here because you know that Liverpool hate the Sun. Didn't want to say anything at the time, but I thought I'll let Petri take the lead on that because it's a very sensitive issue. They loathe the Sun because of their coverage of Hillsborough and the shocking headlines that they put up, which weren't true. And Liverpudlians have never forgiven the Sun newspaper. So it's a little bit awkward sitting in this huge skyscraper of a building owned by the people. What have we got? Paul Claridge. I can't make anything work today. Paul Claridge says, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you had a great week. He doesn't talk like that at all, but for the purposes of this, he will. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend and a bank holiday Monday. No, frankly, I didn't. As for me, I had a great few days, mostly surrounded by dogs, 4 of them to be precise. No, I didn't have a great time. I never do. I mean, every day is bank holiday Monday. Every day feels the same. Weekend feels the same. I don't know. When you work for home forever and you're self-employed and you do everything on your own, it's like No, every day feels exactly the same. My daughter. Now, here's the thing: why I get why Paul's so into the dog. Then I'll come back about what is true, right? Paul's talking about how lovely it is being surrounded by dogs. Totally so. So my daughter, we lost her dog. He passed away age 16. So he and my little mini schnauzer Ebony were exactly the same name. Ebony's having a snooze in one of her 8 million baskets. Don't even go there. And she just runs everything by doing nothing whatsoever apart from weeing, pooing, and sleeping. That's her whole contribution to life: weeing, pooing, and sleeping. She's 16. So my daughter's dog passed away. Everyone was terribly upset because we love this dog. It was a Springer Spaniel, gorgeous dog called Barkley, otherwise only ever known as Barker. He didn't actually, and it was very, very sad. And then she said, "I think I'll get another dog." And within 2 weeks, exactly to the day of Barkley passing, she'd got this gorgeous, gorgeous golden retriever puppy. It's heaven on 4 paws. Oh, bless you, Julie. Look at this. I know how she feels. I know it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday because of the midday show. I'm the same. Julie, I'm exactly the same. No. Savior of the universe. Hello, Barry J. Allen. I hope things are going better for you. I hope you're okay. I got to talk about this. This little puppy, whose name is Bieber, B for short, because Bieber, 2 syllables. I mean, that would be too much effort. Oh, God. I've seen some gorgeous little dogs in my time. This dog, I'm besotted. I'm besotted. It's like I've got a new grandchild. I'm just besotted with this little puppy. So sweet. I might sneak over later and see her again. But I understand what Paul Claridge was saying, right? I understand what Paul was saying, that you're surrounded by dogs, you're surrounded by love. In my case, I'm surrounded by Ebony, I'm surrounded by wee and poo. That's basically it. That's it. I want to get back to Liverpool for a sec. Now, I know this has been banged on and on and on and on because that's what Rolling News does. But I was trying to be the voice of, kind of the voice of reason there. The first thing you noticed, let's just deal with the elephant in the room. Should we just deal with the elephant in the room? The police couldn't say quick enough. They couldn't get the words out fast enough. He's white. He's British. He's British. He's white. I mean, if they'd done it any faster, they would have broken the speed barrier, the speed of sound. They couldn't wait to do that. Southport, funny. Not allowed to know. Welsh choir boy, obviously. But in Liverpool, now I get it. You got 1.2 million people on the street. Rumors get out. Chaos could ensue. It could be horrific. Horrific. So I understand you want to dampen things down. Look, the police had a terrible job up there. Thank God they were there, because if they'd have got into that car. Anyway, now, I don't want to get into the details of that because it's just speculation. Nobody knows. The guy in the car knows. Nobody else knows. So my point is this. 1, social media. Everybody's a forensic genius. They're all forensic experts. They are crime scene investigators. You're not. You know, you're a butcher from Liverpool. You're a hairdresser from Stoke. You're not an expert. You might be an expert in your field. You're not an expert. So speculation to make yourself look good, it's a waste of time. It doesn't help. That's the first thing. And then second things, people, the trouble is this, and let's just be honest about it. I'm just going to say it. We don't believe anything anymore. We don't believe anything anymore. We used to believe if the police said something, go, okay, all right, fair enough. They know what they're doing. Southport, and so many other instances, but Southport particularly, we know. You doubt everything, and you're starting to go mad. Right, let's see what Kim is saying, then I'll come back to my theme. My theme. Where are we? Here we go. Changing subject, but pet names. I got more stick insects. Stick insects? Cara Noble, when we worked together at Capital, she used to have stick insects as pets. Why don't you just get a piece of pipe cleaner from my pipe? Just get a pipe. It's the same thing. Changing subject, says Kimmy Lashma. Pet names. I got more stick insects. Name them Broom and Hockey. And leaf stick insects. Leaf Garrett, Sprig, Russell, no, not after you, and Malone. Barkley was a great name. Kimmy, I'm just, because I'm an idiot, I'm just going to ask, why? Stick insects. Why? What do they do? What do they do? When you put the key in the door at Lashmar Towers, the key in the door, the insects go, hey, mummy's home, mummy's home. I don't know. Well, stick insects, they do absolutely nothing. Okay, what is going on with Rosemary? Why did he pip his horn if he didn't know what he was doing? Well, Rosemary, if you're stuck in a crowd, I'll come back to that. I used to look. Oh, Jesus, Paul, get a life. I used to look after stick insects when I was at school. He doesn't talk like that in the least, but I like to pretend he does. What do they do? What do they do? They're easy pets. Takes ages to second. You tuck them all up under a leaf. You go, night, night. Good night, everybody. And you tuck. Well, this is ridiculous. Anybody want a cordless chainsaw clearance sale only? Only $23. No, frankly, I don't. I don't want that either. Right. So let's go back to this. So why did he pip his horn if he didn't know what he was doing? Well, you know what? You're in a car. Let's take if you're in any situation, right, and you're surrounded by a mob. And by a mob, I mean more than like 4 people, like hundreds and hundreds of people. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're going to pip your horn. You're going to pip your horn. And there's so much weird stuff surrounding this. He's a white man, he's British, and he's 53. Okay. And then the video shows, as far as everyone can tell, hundreds of thousands of people come and say, well, he doesn't look 53. Well, maybe he looks young for his age. Huh? Maybe he looks young. I don't know. God knows. All I do know is that his poor family, now, putting victims, those who are injured, we send our very best, of course. Ghastly. But it's just like, you're not allowed to have a nice day. One nice day. That's the thing that I said when I was on Talk Radio on Monday night. I said, can't you just, for God's sake, have one nice day? I don't follow football. I don't know anything about football at all. But billions of people do, billions around the globe, right? This was a wonderful day for them, a day of celebration, the first part of half term. Little kids are there to see their idols. They're going by on a bus. They've won this big thing. Beautiful. Let them enjoy. It's not for me. It might not be for you. Let them enjoy it. No. In the UK, you can't even have one nice day without some shit going down that is just bloody awful. The problem is, once you've been lied to, once you've been gaslit, once you lose faith in the very people we need to have faith in, right, to keep the nuts and bolts, the foundation of civilization going, everything unravels. So we see the police conference. In the old days, you'd sit there, it's a police conference, they're policemen, that must be true, right? But we've been so gaslit by the mainstream media, so gaslit by the government, so gaslit by their enablers that you just sit there and you're exhausted from it. That's the feeling I get. You go, do I believe any of that? I really don't know. Now, Kimmy's point is this: reading the news when something like this breaks must be so tough. Well, I did a little post. You know, I like to have fun on radio. I first did radio 1984 when I joined Capital Radio. 1984, some 8 billion years ago, when dinosaurs ruled the earth, and it was huge fun. I never thought of it as work. I love it. It's my favorite medium. But yeah, you got to be really, really careful. You know, when Diana. But I'm used to having to handle. I know it sounds silly because it's just us chatting on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? And that's where we're at. And that's lovely. But I am used to having to handle huge things, and which have been damn difficult. And what freaked Petri Hoskin, who's just great. I mean, the consummate professional and a good mate. And we met through work. She's charming, just a great, great person. Is that it threw us back. Petri used to be at BBC Radio London before she's on talk radio. And when we were at BBC Radio London, where I used to go a lot, and because they've changed everything, I don't go at all. And I was always there with Petri at night and middle of the night show. It was Grenfell. It was the Grenfell Tower. If you're watching this abroad in America, I'll briefly explain. Everyone in the UK understand it. This was a big, big tower block of flats. It caught fire, and they say, I think it was 83 people died. I'll come back to that in a minute. I don't believe those numbers at all. I think it was far more. Anywho, as Petri is in the minicab, the taxi, because it's radio, late at night, it's bringing her in, and you come over a thing called the Westway, which is a major arterial road coming into London, and she could see some sort of fire. But fires happen all the time. She didn't think anything more about it. I get called in, and as we go on air, the story starts to unfold. And without a doubt, I'm answering Kimmy's point about reading the news when something like this must be so tough. The story starts to unfold. And what we initially thought, well, there's a fire. It happens, the fire brigade will come along, and that'll be fine. Well, it wasn't fine. It was an absolute towering inferno. It was a nightmare. We couldn't put any of the calls. So people were phoning up BBC Radio London at the time, live from there. We couldn't put any of those calls to air. None of them. None of them. They were horrific. They were so bad. It was such a rough evening. Now, understand, I'm not saying it was rough for us compared to you're stuck in a building and it's on fire, obviously. What I mean emotionally, that Petri was offered, BBC offered counselling. I was offered the square root of sod all. Okay, it's fine. I don't care. It's the BBC. I expect nothing from them, and I'm never disappointed. Anyhow, that was a shocker. When you've got huge things, and you're at the very vanguard of reporting on it, it's very different from having a chat like this. I remember there was the Clapham Common train disaster where several people died. And I was doing the Flying Eye at the time. And you know, it's very jovial. There's me and Chris Tarrant. And we're all having a laugh with Cara Noble and the late marvelous Howard Hughes. Everything's hilarious. And I thought, well, there's been an accident. I better have a look. And I flew over. Rather, the pilot flew over. I don't fly. No desire to fly whatsoever. And Jesus, God, I looked down. And this wasn't just a little, I could see it was like, you know, if you've got kids and the kids just leave toys everywhere on the floor, you know, like a train set. So, you know, the toys are, and I looked down at the Clapham Common station area near there. And it was carnage. The carriages were everywhere. It was like, oh, Christ. And in that moment, nobody else knows because they haven't seen it. I'm the only person who's seen it and about to report on it. And so instantly I have to do several things, like spinning the plates on a stick at the circus, without being over dramatic and doing like the Hindenburg, oh, the humanity, ladies and gentlemen, like nonsense. I have to change the tone of the show. but it's Chris's show. It's not my show. So you've got a lot of balancing to do. Does that make sense? And I'm trying to communicate, Chris, we're about to have to change tone because this is bad, without being dramatic, without upsetting anybody because the news hasn't got out, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, but that's what we do for a living. That's our job. And you have to try and hopefully do always the best that you can. Paul Claridge, who's a big radio, come on, work, silly thing. Right, here we go. What have we got? Simon Letterman. Paul, I remember Simon Letterman being on air late one night on BBC Radio London when news started to filter over the fire in West London. Found himself moving from his fun show, recording live on Grenfell. I'm not convinced Simon was still around there, Paul. I think I'm not being rude. I think you get a bit confused because the first people to report on it was Petrie Hoskin and myself, because it broke. Literally, the fire broke out when we were just starting to go on air and do the show. So I don't think it was Mr. Letterman, who is a lovely guy. I love Simon Letterman. Talking of 1984, my dad... Shut up! Mike, you are kidding. Talking of 1984, not the George Orwell novel, my dad still has his Apple Macintosh, which he bought in Dixon's, and it still works. All right, I'm just like astounded. I used to write all the training films for Dixon's and Curry's, and well, it wasn't Curry's. What was it called? Dixon's or something else? What was it called? I wrote all those training films for Dixon's endlessly. I used to write hundreds of them. I can't believe that. It's got an Apple Macintosh from 1984 and it still works. Anyway, yeah. The other thing, it's interesting. I rarely talk about sort of the art of broadcasting, such a thing. I think you can either do it or you can't, to be brutally honest. You can train people up to a certain level, but, it is what it is. I can't juggle. I have no sense of balance. There's all sorts of things you can probably train me to improve a little bit, but I'm never going to be great. I can't do it. I can't dive into water. Just can't. I can swim, fine. Julie Voice. Today, this is the best question of the day. Julie Voice. I just wondered if someone could confirm whether it's Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, because right here in Houston, it's dang hot. Today is Wednesday, apparently. I only know this because I've got a big funeral to do on Friday. So I have to work my week around that. It's very nice. People have discovered and remembered that I started life out as a speechwriter. It's the first thing I did. Then I went into copywriting and then script writing and then authors and all the rest of it. But my first professional writing was as a speechwriter, and people are saying, "Oh, could you do something? I've got this coming up. I've got that." Not funerals, by the way, because I have to write speeches for that also. Could you write these speeches? It's very sweet. It's fun. Come full circle. Paul Claridge. Russ. Simon was there that night. He discussed it on air once or twice since that night. It may have been the case he was on air before Petrie. Could Simon have been... Was he on before us or after us? He may have still been there at the time. I don't know. Simon's career is a mystery to everybody in the industry. He's the loveliest. I have... Sometimes we meet for lunch. He's just the loveliest guy. All right, I'm not going to argue with Paul because my memory is rubbish and your memory is probably, written in diaries. Yes. So anyway, the Liverpool thing. And now we've got to a stage in this country that even if we understand what's going on, you sit there going, do I believe any of this? Is this the guy? I mean, now they're saying that this guy, for some reason, was following an ambulance through and he was in the wrong place. They were trying to grab him out of the car and who knows? What we do know. No, what we don't know, but what should be a fact is if you are stoned off your face on drugs, you should be anywhere near a car. If you're drunk, but especially if you're on drugs, what the hell? What the hell. I feel very sorry for the victims, obviously. Ghastly. But no one ever thinks, what about his family? Can you imagine? Because when his name is released, and whoever this fellow is, the name will be released. Liverpool, if there was ever a city to bear a grudge and never forget, look how they are with the Sun newspaper, they won't buy it there. His family better head for the hills. Head for the hills. Get the hell out of Dodge. Because they'll release the name. And what we forget, I'm born and bred in London. It's got a working population of like 10 million people. That's what they'll admit to. Christ knows what it really is with all the fast food scooter guys. I'd like to see their driving licenses. Yeah, right. And I'd like to get some unicorn poo at the same time. Anyhow, it's just one of my bugbears, right? It's Liverpool's tiny. We always think of it as a huge city, but it's not. It's tiny. It's got a population of 500,000. It's the same as Edinburgh. So the whole of Liverpool is 500,000 people. Minute. I mean, compared to London, that's like Croydon or something. So everybody knows everybody else up there. Not like London, where we don't want to know anybody else. We just want to stay away from me. Stay away from me. But Liverpool is a very different atmosphere. It's very friendly. They got a real way with them, They're proud. If you're in Liverpool, I used to travel a lot around the UK, and you get to places, and they're proud to be there. I don't think people are proud to be from London anymore. Right? That's all. We all know why. But you go to Liverpool, they're proud to be Liverpudlian. They love it. They love their city. They love their particular culture, and you get it when you get there. It's you feel it in the ether. Right? What have we got going on? On another subject, what do people think of AI photos being brought to life? Ah, yes. Well, the genie's out the bottle, Rosemary. Ain't going back. So she says this. A friend sent me some AI photos, and I've seen it, Rosemary. I know, I saw it on your feed, of my late parents. And although it freaked me out just a bit, it was rather beautiful. My father was alive again for a moment. Oh, man, we have opened up a can of worms here. And it's something that plays on my mind a lot. Because I would love to see my parents moving again, just like Rosemary. I'd love to see my late wife moving again. Emotionally, it would cripple me. But on the other hand, the other half of you wants to see it. And with AI, and this is just the beginning. This is nothing. This is like going back to the 1984 Macintosh. We thought that was cutting edge at the time. The AI we're seeing now in a year's time, in 5 years' time, will look like a John Ball printing set, So what do people think about it? What do you think about it? Do you think it's a good thing that you can do this? Would you like to see your loved ones come back to life through AI? I don't mean walking in the room. I'm talking about on a screen. Would you like that? Poignant, isn't it? It's poignant. But it also... I'm wearing my celebrant hat now. I've finished with the broadcasting hat. I'm wearing my celebrant hat for a minute. It perpetrates the myth that we're immortal and we go on forever. We don't. We die. That's it. I'm not saying, if you believe in heaven and hell, you believe when we go to heaven. Fantastic. And bless you for that. I have no idea. No one's ever come back for sure and said, I went there. It was okay. The catering was a bit, no one ever comes back and does that, right? Let's go back to Mike Perry. What's he say? Come on. Trying to work with when you're left-handed, this is useless. Mike Perry says this. Yeah. Apple Macintosh still works. It was up in my parents' loft in the box for a number of years. And I brought it down, plugged it in, and it all works. Wow. I can't get over that. That's when they built things to last. Just some bit of dust. That was it. I mean, I remember as a small kid in the mid 1980s, 1986, our family dishwasher, the Hot Point, lasted for 14 and a half years. So lasted to nearly 2001. Well, yes. Yeah, things were built to last. We live in a disposable society. Emotions are disposable. People are disposable. The truth is disposable. Nothing is what it seems. And everything is about consumerism. Of course, things are not built to last. I was having a really, well, it was interesting for me. What have we got? I have one of my late husband, and it's wonderful. Oh, Julie. We're talking about AI photos coming to life and bringing you comfort. I have one of my late husband. It's wonderful and comforting. I get that. That's beautiful. But Kimmy, on the other side of the coin, is saying, I'm personally, I'm not ready for this AI. Well, Kimmy, here's the deal. It's here. It's here. And it's everywhere. And it will be used everywhere. And it's the great thing about AI is, well, what do we do with the people who don't have a job anymore? This was always the thing about automation, wasn't it? When car workers, the Red Robber, that ghastly idiot, and the rest of it, destroyed British Leyland, etc. Because of automation, this, that, and the other. Yeah, it's whether you like it or not. It is progress. I don't mean progress in the pejorative term. Yes, it's progress. I mean life progresses. Nothing stands still. Everything changes. You got to roll with the punches. You got to adapt. You got to evolve. I'm going back to things not lasting. As you know, one of my very, very best friends is Ray Gelato, the brilliant jazz musician with Ray Gelato and the Giants. If you haven't seen them, you got to go and see them. It's just a fantastic show. So Ray and I see each other every Saturday morning, along with Colin Vanes, and have a chat, have a cigar, and have a chat. Right? And I know nothing about saxophones. They're very, very old. And all the people like Leo Green, not the mate, and Ray play saxophones from made in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. And I go, why? And I go, because if you don't know anything about it, you go, why would you do that? Why would you buy something that's nearly 100 years old? In some cases, they sound so much better. I asked again. I said, well, Ray, why do they sound better? Because they were made of better material. So although you can get a saxophone now, which is cheaper, the metal itself is thinner. The composite parts of the metal aren't as good. So that kind of goes back to your Macintosh thing. Yeah. And oh, no, this is nonsense. Kimmy, no. I said to my hairdresser, you'll always need hairdressers. She said they're already getting robots to do hairdressing. I don't know. It sounded like a Coronation Street kind of conversation, doesn't it? Kimmy, one thing the robot do is when you go to the hairdresser, it won't be like, you've heard about her at number 37. Couldn't say a word. Not saying anything, darling, but know what I mean? Robot's not going to do that. Hairdressers are community hubs, aren't they? Apart from where I get my hair cut, because no one speaks English. I'm not joking. I'm the only guys. I go into this place and I love them. They're really, really nice guys. English, not so much, but they're really nice guys. And they do a great hair. So the thing is, here's the thing. Oh, what have we got? Yeah, this is it. Mike Perry. Talking photos coming to life, step back into a photo. Have you watched that episode, Eulogy? Yeah. I watched the whole of Black Mirror. I thought this series was patchy. Can I just say that I think the creator is a genius. It's a word I don't throw around very much. The creator of Black Mirror is a complete genius. He's just amazing. His imagination, the breadth of his thinking, the intricacy of the plot. It's wonderful. I could never come up with it in a million years. in awe of his talent. But I thought some of the stories weren't as strong as from the last one. The sort of Star Trek spoof went on way too long. But anyway, it is very interesting. And the thing about Black Mirror is it takes life and just moves it along a little bit. That's the trick. Because when you're watching Black Mirror and all those different stuff, if you've never watched the series, it's amazing. I think we're up to season 3. They're all different stories. They're an hour each. Totally different stories. Kind of. No, they're different stories. But all they're doing is taking what we have now, giving it a slight twist and moving it just along a little bit with tech. And you think, and that's why it hits hard. Yeah? That's why it resonates so hard, because you think, that's possible. That could happen. You know, if you're watching the Marvel stuff, which I gave up on after Endgame, because after that it's been shit. Let's not kid us. It's been absolutely woke rubbish. Just rubbish. Endgame, or the Avengers, was terrific. Terrific. What is that? Hang on. What are you saying, Kimmy? Agree, Black Mirror, but I waited for you to make that decision. About what? What about what decision did I made a decision? It's a bit worrying. It's a bit unlike me. It is. Look, we don't want people we love to pass. We don't. We want them with us forever. We want our pets with us forever. You know, Ebony's 16 now, and every day I think, well, today's a plus, because she ain't getting any younger, and she's frail. She has good days, she had bad days. We never know. You don't know what you're going to get, right? And AI gives us that ability to just hold on a little bit more, bring them back to life. I'm going to talk about something I rarely talk about, but I thought as a celebrant, because I'm in crematoriums all the time, and the chapel assistants, the CAs, you get to know them. They said, Russ, do you want to come back and see what actually goes on? I went, yeah. And well, did I want to as me? No, I didn't. Did I feel that I should? Yes. I thought if you're going to do something, you need to learn and to do it to the best of your ability. So I went what I would call backstage at the crematorium. Now, I've been back before for a quick tour, but I went into the detailed. So, right, I'm not going to be gross. Don't worry. I'm not going to be gross. I promise. You're in safe hands. And I went into the detailed side of it, which I'm not going to go into deep. But I was totally struck between in theatre, you'd call it front of house, back of house. Now, in a theatre, it's all lights and sparkles and, costumes. It's all wonderful. Backstage, it's dirty, it's scrubby, it's uncomfortable. Everyone's running around. It looks a hell of a mess. Front of house at a crematorium in a chapel, it's all wood. It's candles. It might be stained glass. It's very lovely. It's all lovely pews, music, flowers. Yeah. And just behind that wall, it's completely industrial. It is utterly industrial. So I had a bit of a dark moment of the soul. Am I selling a lie? Am I selling a lie? Because I know what's behind that. Right? I've seen it in intricate detail, every stage of it. And it's literally like that and that. It's like no area. It's literally behind a wall. And then I thought, no, I'm not selling a lie. I'm giving comfort. I'm giving comfort. So the flowers and the music and the wood and the glass and the atmosphere, it's important. I really argued with myself for a few days over it. It's important because it gives you closure. Trust me. You do not want an industrial closure. You couldn't have that. You just couldn't. But the other thing that struck me, and I want to make this very clear, I've never been in an industry that shows so much care, so much concern, and so much respect for the clients. And I call the deceased, as I was trained, call them the guest of honor. I never call it the guest of honor. Okay? At a funeral. By the way, I do weddings, baby namings, I do lots of other stuff. It's just that more people die than get married. Just how it is. So, the guest of honor at every stage, and I really want to reassure people. Now, I'm not speaking above the funeral industry, it's hardly my role. But they are treated with enormous respect right throughout. Right through. It's really important you know that. Because I'm horribly cynical. You're probably like me. We're all of a certain, it's not our first rodeo, okay? And you think, I bet they're not like that when no one's watching. No. The amount of respect shown when there's no one else there. No one. There's no cheap jokes. There's no jokes. There's nothing like that at all. Every guest of honor is treated with the most enormous respect. And I'll give you, for instance, of what I mean by that. When everybody goes at the end of the service, I leave the curtains open. That's what I want to do. And all the guests leave the chapel. I remain. And then with myself, possibly the funeral director and the chapel assistant, we close the curtains and we send the deceased on their final journey. My point is this. There's no one else in the room. There's only me, sometimes just two of us. There's no... The amount of respect that is shown by everybody remains the same. And I think that's important to know. Okay, so with Kimmy Lashmar. Oh, come on. There we go. Right. Kimmy says, no, cancel. What you thought of it? The first one, brain repair and adverts. Oh my God. Yes, I mean, they're absolutely spot on. They're spot on. The storyline with this is that there's a loving couple. You see, they absolutely adore each other. She gets ill. There's nothing they can do. And then one of the people in the hospital says, there is a new treatment. It's experimental. Would you like to meet the people who are doing it? Yes, of course. The husband is desperate. He wants his wife back. Yeah. So they meet. They're sold this scheme. And it starts to work beautifully. And then bit by bit by bit, the monthly installments, the standing debit, what do you call it, standing order, goes up. And well, yeah, that was our beta model. Now you go. And what they've done, I mean, it's just a stroke of genius with writing. It's so clever. They've done with this exactly what they've done with Amazon, what they've done with Netflix, what they've done with every other streaming channel in the world, with Spotify. They start putting adverts in. So the woman who has come back to life and is fine, and in the middle of like a conversation says, have you tried new, and starts doing adverts exactly like when you're trying to watch a program or something. It's amazing. And of course, they want to get rid of the adverts because she's a teacher and what she's saying is inappropriate. You know, they're having a conversation. She starts doing an advert break. And they said, well, if you want that, and it's I'm not going to tell you how he pays for it. I'm not going to go into that at all. I'm not going to tell you the ending. It's a genius piece of writing. And that's what I meant when I said earlier. You take stuff which we accept Ladies and gentlemen, she just thinks she can jump on. She'll wait to be introduced. She will wait to be introduced. Ladies and gentlemen, you know her. You have grown to love her. Top BBC presenter, newshound extraordinaire. Better call Saul. There she is. Can we hear you? No, you're muted. You did what I did. We're both as stupid as each other. No, you're muted.
It's been a long day. How are you?
I'm all right. We were discussing earlier. Thank you for jumping on because I know it's your lunch break.
Yes.
I want to go back as you're here. Thank you.
Hello, Kimmy.
Seriously, this is a serious question. We were discussing earlier in the show, and some folks were saying, I was in talk radio early in the Monday night when the story about Liverpool broke. I'm not a news guy. You know, I'm a broadcaster. You are a news person.
Yes.
What filters do you put on? What checks and balances do you put on when there's a breaking story? There's a hunger for the news, but you don't want to speculate. Go on.
And of course, we can't. We have to check our sources. There's sort of official sources, so the things like a local council or the police or anything like that. And there'll be unofficial sources, so the speculation on social media, for example, or the footage that was put up.
Yeah.
And actually, when I got in last night and I was watching the BBC 6 o'clock news, and they were explaining carefully to people, first of all, that, you know, there's all this footage on social media, but we're not going to show all of it because A, we want to verify that it's true. B, some of it's far too graphic and we don't want to put you off your dinner kind of thing. You know, some of that is gratuitous. Yes, a terrible thing has happened. But equally, you have to, you know, think about people's sensibilities. At 6 o'clock in the evening, there's going to be a whole cross section of people watching, including children.
A lot of children,
you know,
having that.
So there's things like that. But also, it was interesting what the police chief of Merseyside Police said, that they put out quite a bit of information quite quickly. And part of the reason for that is they wanted to stop all the misinformation circulating on social media, because if you remember, they were the same force that had to deal with the Southport shootings a year ago, nearly.
Stabbing.
And at that point,
Southport
because
stabbing.
Southport stabbing, rather, apologies, because they didn't put out information. Well, they put out some information, but because being a police force, they were being careful about it.
Let's not dress it up. They lied. We were gaslit.
Either way, it caused an awful lot of unrest across the UK, not just around Southport.
So it should.
So this time around, they wanted to make sure that everyone had all the information. They gave out a bit more. This is what they said in their news conference yesterday. They gave out as much information as they felt they could, because they didn't want people to speculate, but they did want people's advice. And it seems to have worked that way. Yes, we've got.
Let me ask you this, okay, because it's I'm really pleased you were able to jump on in your break. I was saying, and I was positing this, because of, say, everything that we've endured in the last few years, the way we've been lied to, the way we've been gaslit, the way that we've been misinformed deliberately, with a bare face, they've just lied to us. How do we manage, and it's your role, not mine, to reassure people that they're being told the truth? Because I think we've lost any ability to say, yeah, I'm going to accept that. I'm accepting that on face value, because I don't, and I don't think our listeners do. Not anymore.
I think it's a shame, but I think it's muddied because of other media outlets. So not proper media outlets. So you've got not just the BBC, you've got Sky News, you've got CNN International, that sort of thing. You've got a Talk TV, Talk Sport. They're all very well established British media organisations. Equally, and people will tune in for that information. But equally, these days, you do have an awful lot of keyboard warriors. Social media is vast.
It's vile. It's vast.
And you know, much as there is regulation, it can't be contained in the same way that the regulations that the BBC and ITV and Sky and ITN and all the rest of it are subject to.
And they still lie. And they still lie with all those regulations. They still put forward absolute blatant untruths. They still do that. I'm very angry about it. I have been for a very long time. Social media. The problem is everybody wants to speculate. They're all geniuses, right?
Oh, everyone's a keyboard journalist.
They're all you. They've all done years of
That's it.
training. And they happen to be a hairdresser, but they've done years of analytical training.
That's
we
it.
haven't.
No.
We know that. But the problem is, and
everyone has
in
an
the past,
opinion, though.
everybody, but yes, and like bottoms, we don't always want to see them. So my point is this, right? Years ago, it was easier to say, "Oh, you're a keyboard warrior." Oh, shut up! What do you know? But in certain events that have happened in America and here, and in the Middle East, the only people telling the truth are sometimes on social media. And the mainstream media, the MSM, which the sooner it dies, the better. I'm not being rude about you. I'm not. But the lie, no, I wouldn't be. I know, we do very different jobs. Our medium just happens to be radio, but we do very, very different roles. You begin to think, well, I will look at social media because somewhere here might be the grains of truth of what's actually going to happen. Southport would have been covered up had it not been for social media. And I find myself hating myself saying that, but it's true.
I don't think it would have been covered up, but certainly it was revealed. And actually, these were investigations by mainstream media of the history of the perpetrator of it.
Yeah, which has still not been
Ruda Cabana, which I have to say very carefully, because I had to say his name I don't know how many times the other week. And in one of the bulletins accidentally called him Cabanana, which everyone thought was hilarious. And I was like, oh no.
Oh dear. That is
Cabana.
What, like a cabin on the beach?
Yes, I managed not to laugh.
I don't know how you do it, because I would have creased up. The worst thing we ever had.
I've got used to it. I've got used to I've got used to presenters and people like you poking fun during my bulletin. So I just go very poker face.
I won't do that. I actually, in seriousness, I won't do that. I know a lot of people like to try and make the news presenter laugh and this, that, and the other. I won't do that. I never have, because
I've had it all sorts. And one studio I worked in a few years ago, the main studio was a goldfish bowl into a shopping centre, so we all had to hot seat to the news and the presenter, so you could always be seen when you were doing your broadcast. And when I hot seated with the presenter to do a hourly news bulletin, the presenter, as well as having people staring at you from behind, the presenter was then doing fake stares up and down on the other side of the studio, and I completely ignored all of them, so that was good.
That's outrageous. That's absolutely outrageous. But it's difficult.
The things we have to put up with as serious news readers.
One day, the news guy, I don't know who it was who was doing the news, said Chris was away.
It was probably Howard. I learned a lot from the late Howard Hughes.
It wasn't Howard. It wasn't Howie. It was somebody. It was one of our sports guys. And it was like Harry Redknapp. And Chris was away on holiday, and Neil Fox was sitting here. And he called him Harry Redknob. So Harry Redknob, well, no one could let it go. No, not only did they clip that thing, it was Neil couldn't speak. And it's rare because he's the consummate, Fox is the consummate professional fella. He couldn't talk. He was hysterical with laughter. Then, of course, they were trying to come up to me, and I'm the worst giggler. Once I go, I can't stop. And this Harry Redknob was throughout the whole of the rest of
no. You see, I tripped over. I was working at TalkSport years ago, and one of the sports presenters said, "Oh, stick this in the news," like a minute before the bulletin. And of course, I tripped over the name. And they never let me forget it, and they still would have it on their sort of clip list of things that went wrong years later. And in the end, I emailed one of them and I said, look, not being funny, but if you're still playing out my little clip of tripping over this sports manager's name 8 years later, have you got nothing better to do? Please stop, because it's not funny anymore.
That's how you get the reputation. She's really difficult to work with. That's how it starts.
Yeah. Oh,
Do you
of
know what? I'm
course.
not
I'm
joking. It's
terrible
like
to work
8
with.
years. For Christ's sake, let it go.
It's like, have you?
Let
Well,
it
no,
go.
it was more like, have you not got any new material that you're having
No, well,
to
they
rely
clearly
on
haven't.
me?
No, they haven't got any new material.
So
They
of
think
course
it's like,
it kind of stopped them for a while, and now I don't even care. So
but it's interesting.
because it's the same idea. If you're getting amusement from something I did years ago, what kind of sad life have you got?
Well, I still find Morecambe and Wise funny. I love Morecambe and
Yes,
Wise.
but they're
Like
meant to
Laurel
be
and
funny.
Hardy.
They're
Well,
meant to be funny.
Yeah, but then you got those blooper shows. Don't forget, there's a whole industry with my
Yes,
wonderful mate
blooper
Simon
shows.
Withington. And it'll
I
be
don't
all right
even
in the
think it was
night.
a very good blooper. It's like, come and
Well,
read a news bulletin then.
they had crappy material to do. Has there been, because I don't follow the news deliberately because it just depresses me, very briefly, as you are the news hound, has there been any development? And I'm being serious. I'm not being rude. I don't follow the news. I try and vaguely
Which is
understand
fair
what's
enough.
going, because it depresses me so much. Has there been any further developments or not? This guy's name has not been revealed yet or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge, but only because I haven't been working on today's news on my shift today.
Okay.
So I couldn't give you an update, but I would direct you to all mainstream media's news websites. So whether that's BBC, Sky, ITN, you can Google them to find out the latest. I haven't been working on today's news stories because I've been on a reporter shift. So among other things, I've been researching the cost of ice cream. So
the
just
big
for
story
a
is
change,
as they break with Liz Saul. Ice cream.
yes.
Is it soaring or the cost melting? How
well,
much is the
that's
cost
very
of a
good. I might
cornetto?
use that actually.
What's
Just
the
for a
cost of
change, I've been doing
what's
a
the
more
cost of
light-hearted
hang on,
story.
we can do that. Is it 99 or does it just mean 99 pounds for an ice cream? The temperatures. Hang on. Here we go. Temperatures are soaring, and so are ice cream prices. You can have that one. You can have that straight away.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Brilliant. I'm very pleased.
Where are you,
yes,
by the way? Are you
£2.50.
Where are you?
I'm in Calverley Park, which is in Tunbridge Wells.
Ooh. Oh, that's gorgeous. I thought you were in a garden. So that's beautiful.
Oh yes, my garden looks like this. Not.
I've heard rumors. Can we see it again? Because that's really lovely. Because I'm not going to be getting out today. So oh wow, that's lovely. How smashing.
That's my view.
It also means, but I can do for the first time ever on the show. And now we're going to our outside broadcast reporter, Liz Saul, somewhere near Tunbridge Wells. Liz, what's the latest situation with the trees?
The trees are fine. But actually, earlier, and I hope you didn't notice that because I seem to be somewhat of an animal whisperer, I've had at least 2 dogs come up to me while we've been talking and wanted a little pet. So
they didn't use you as the lamppost, I hope.
No, they did not. They wanted a fuss, which I'm more than happy to give to animals.
Dogs, of course, you're going to give them a fuss.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I know how busy you are. I never take it for granted. Anyway,
do you know what, though? It's not the first outside broadcast we've done on this show.
No, I know. But nonetheless, I wanted to say the words because I never do it. Because normally Neil's sitting having a vape.
In his conservatory. Now, you need to talk to him about that because you need to talk to him about that next week because from this weekend, the sale of disposable vapes are banned.
Are they? I don't
vape,
so I have no idea.
Yeah, but disposable vapes, the sale of disposable vapes are banned.
Well, I thought all vapes were.
So you have to.
You don't throw the whole thing away?
They're not all disposable. There's some that you buy them and then you put these things into them. So you keep the vape, but there's some vapes you can buy, they're just single use and you throw them. Well, they want to ban those, and that's coming into effect at the weekend. So you might want to ask Neil about that on Monday.
Our pal could be a criminal
now. Not now, but come Monday, yeah.
Neil's on the run.
Or is that why he's not here today?
We can do things like the long arm of the law.
Oh, very good.
Thank you very much. I'm on fire today. Anyway, I've got to go.
You are brilliant.
Now,
Excellent. We look forward to it.
All right. Well, bless you. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all your comments. You are the most fantastic. Aren't they the most wonderful gang? They're just the greatest gang. Just like chatting with mates. Be back
as it
Friday.
should be.
Oh, no, I won't
See you later.
On Friday. I'm working Friday. I will be back next week. Everybody else will be back on Monday. Yeah. Bye.